Greetings and welcome to another one of our videos. This one is completely different than what we normally do. I had the pleasure of recording a seminar presented by Julie Davila at Mountain View High School. Now, Julie is a professor of percussion at Middle Tennessee State University, as well as the president of the Percussive Arts Society. And she was presenting on the topic of percussion performance and general musicianship, but the conversation went in a lot of really great directions, including this one, which was on the topic of how small wins will add up to large gains. And I think that that's something that doesn't get thought of in depth enough or in the right ways. So I'm really excited to show you this clip from that seminar. So take a look at it and see what you think.
And also small wins, they accumulate over time into big wins, right? Is there a board in that, right?
Yeah.
So there's another book. I'm kind of a nerd, to be honest. I'm really geeky. I love coaches' books. I love motivational speakers and podcasts. Oh, I'm super nerdy. Because I always like that but as I went through life, that's one of those zigs and zags I've taken. And there's a series of books by Austin Kleon, and they're like this big, like 60 pages, and they're kind of picture books. They're really great. But I wish I would have brought it with me. So he talks about small wins. And he has 3 pages, so imagine turning the page through these. So here's page 1. And he was like, here's page 2. This isn't going to be as dramatic as if I had the book. All right, and he's talking about small wins. So he said, day 1. Right, and he talks about day 1. You got to start something. Starting something is that's the biggest challenge. Start it, right? When I wanted to start Rick, I bought a Rick. I started. Did I know anything? I still thought this was a tambourine, right? I didn't. I knew it was Rick, but I knew nothing. The first thing I had to do is start it, right? And I learned this much. And by the end of that first week, I learned this much, right? So in the Austin Kleon book, you turn the page, and it's like, I think he goes to a week, might be 4 pages, and all of a sudden he's got like that. I love this visual. And then he goes to a month. So this is day, week, month, and then I think the last page is year. And in a month, you see like, right on time. You get it, right? And then you can imagine what the year looks like. It's like crayons, all those lines. I'm just gonna fill it in. That's your year. Those are small wins. You don't start something and end up right here, day 1. That's never going to happen. But if you'll stick with something, it's dramatic. Look at that, day 1. And what's cool is when you turn the page in the book and you go, whoa, that's progress, yes? Month, progress, year, wow, I grew, I got so much better. I'm now, like I say, I would maybe say I'm intermediate. I think I said beginner. Probably to really great players, I'm probably a beginner. I might call myself in here like an intermediate. So I grew. I had 2 years of that. I just want to encourage you, credit yourself for the small wins. If you know 3 scales right now, C, F, and B flat, that's a start. Right? Some of you percussionists maybe that haven't played a lot of marimba yet, or a lot of keyboard yet. Start somewhere. Start with a scale. Next week, add another scale. Get some exercises on what you can do within. Just live with that scale all week. Do 3 or 4 different exercises. Play around with the scale. Next week, add another one. By Christmas, you might know 4 really well, or 4 that you didn't know, right? And those are small wins. Same thing with all you win players. It's the same thing, right? You guys tend to know more melodic scales and components than some percussionists at times, but I just want to encourage you, the small wins matter. And I know in a social media kind of day, I think when you open Instagram or TikTok or any of those and you see somebody that you kind of admire, you're only seeing this. Particularly anybody that's a skill set, like there's some stuff on Instagram and TikTok that are not skill-based, right? But good athletes, good musicians, good singers, good whatever, right? I guarantee you there were steps before you saw what we call the highlight reel. You all individually bring something unique. There's one of you. Any twins in the room? You're still your own, though, even though physically you might look like this. But guys, you're unique. You have something to offer this world. I want to encourage you not to compare yourself to anybody else. Be you. Be you. I was listening to a podcast recently, and I think it was another actress. I think it was an actress from Seinfeld. I don't know if you guys know that show. Yeah. And she said, "Yeah, I don't compare myself to. I try not to compare myself to anybody because I always lose." Dude, that resonated with me. She was, I try not to do the comparison game because I always lose. Oh, it was a musician actually. But yeah, I was like, exactly. If we get our headspace like that, then sometimes that can just, take your special qualities and you just don't just try not to compare yourself to other people. Just think about that. You have something to offer. So I just want to encourage you to try to, just try to think, just appreciate your uniqueness and try not to get too sucked into the social media stuff. I know that's easier for me to say than it is for you who are living in that world right now, but I always feel like that's an important thing to talk about.